Oh boy, oh boy. My mind is like chop suey right now. That's why I think, at least it seems like, it went through that thing about 2.5 times. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, here we are. Thanks for joining us. I do apologize. It is, wow, it took 4 minutes to get through a minute bumper. Ay. It's been one of those days, folks. But hey, we're here. We've made it this far. We're going to soldier on, and we're going to make it. Samuel! Bob Rock is here. Hello, Bob. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Stefan is here. Good to see you. Matthew, Tom. All right. I believe that's it for those that are in the chat at the very least. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We are going to be doing a live review today of Blueprints of Mad King Ludwig. This is a 2024 release. This is being put out this year. I believe it is going to be released around or even at Origins. So if you're going to be at Origins, you can probably pick up a copy of this at the Bezier booth. You can check that out if you're there. If you're not there, I don't, and I apologize, I don't know the exact release date, but I'm pretty sure it is Origins that is going to be available. I know that it is on the preview list on Board Game Geek, so that should lend some credence to that. Yes, I would remind you of something now, but don't want to. I would remind you of something now, but don't want to. Why? Go ahead and remind me. I don't mind at all. That's really cryptic. But please feel free to remind me of whatever you wish. As long as it's not inappropriate. Although I don't know what it would be that would be inappropriate, and I don't understand. Anyway, we are going to get started here while Bob thinks about whether or not he's going to remind me of something or not. I was thinking the same thing. Okay, you guys have got to stop. You're messing with my brains here. What's going on? I would remind you of something. I don't know what was going on. I feel out in the cold. Anyway. Cryptic. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'll watch the stupid film already. Oh. Yes. You do need to remind me of that. I'm sorry, sir. I'm very, very sorry, Mr. Bob Rock. Watch the... Okay. All right. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this little guy right here. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This was good. Yes. Very good. Very well done. Well done. That was... if I can say the word awesome, you said he was cryptic, very cryptic. And it is kind of cryptic when you think about the mascot, the Iron Maiden mascot, Eddie. It's even more cryptic. You just had me going, man. I felt like I was sitting in the principal's office. I was like, what'd I do? I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry. Back on track now is right. Yes. Okay. So, back on track. All right. There we go. See? All right. A little bit of metal infused there since you started talking about it. All right. Here we go. So, this was sent to us so we could do a live playthrough on it. And we did that a few weeks ago. I just did a solo playthrough this morning to refresh my memory on the rules and all of that other kind of stuff, and I got my butt whooped by, I didn't get a single King's Favor token. I didn't win a single King's Favor token. You'll understand this a little bit more later on, but King's Favors are like open goals that everybody can shoot for, and you get, generally if you get first place in that goal category, you get 15 points. If you get second, you get 8. If you get third, you get 4 points, and if you get last point, you get fourth place, you get 1 point. So, you know, it was like a concession price. But in the solo mode, you get first or nothing. Like nothing. And I think I got regally worked over by the solo mode this morning. I came out with like, I came out with like 94 points or something like that. And I was like the butler of the Duchess Chamber or something like that. That was my, that was my achievement medal. Let me see, what is it again? I have to read it. It made me chuckle, but I was like, yeah, sounds like me. The butler of the Duchess Chamber. Yeah, I got 51 to 100 points. So that was that. So, but having said all of that, yes, having said all of that, if you know how to play Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you generally have a good concept of what's going on here. The only difference is that instead of using tiles, like in Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you're drawing your rooms on these little vellum pieces of paper on an easel. Which was a really kind of cool thing to do instead of just using paper for a couple of reasons. And we'll talk about those as we go on. But generally speaking, this is kind of like a flip and write with player order. So you know, a lot of flip and writes, one card is flipped over and everybody has to do that thing. And this is where that kind of diverts away from that construct. In this one, you have a market of cards. There is a first player. Whoever has the castle eraser is the first player. And you get to choose one, and then everybody else gets to choose one. There are, generally speaking, 2 more rooms in the market than there are players in the game. So you will you always have a choice as to what room you're going to take, but if somebody takes the room that you wanted, suck it up, Buttercup, and come up with another choice, another idea, because you will always have at least, I think, 3. Yeah, you should. You should always have at least 3 choices, 3 cards or 3 rooms to choose from. Once everybody has chosen a room, or rather, when you choose a room, you're going to take that room and you're going to actually draw it onto your blueprint, and then it's going to go into your pile. The reason that's important is because the top card, the top room card on your pile, determines who goes first, or rather determines player order next turn. So that's important as well. Everybody's going to have bonus cards that they're going to try to shoot for, but the problem with these is that you can't actually score them unless you complete some utility rooms, which are the orange rooms that you'll be drawing into your blueprint. So you're going to be doing a number of different things throughout the course of the game that are going to score you points at the end. And we'll talk about scoring and all of that kind of stuff in just a few minutes. But generally speaking, let's go ahead and get down to the table, and I'll explain, you know, so that you can see what's going on. Basically what I just said, really, but you kind of get the idea. Bob Rock says, I really disliked Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Setting the prices was the only thing I really liked, and will always play Isle of Skye if I'm in the mood for that mechanic. Understood. There are no prices for rooms in this game. So that might have taken away the only thing that you liked about the game, but hold on to your hat. Let's see what you think about the rest of it, see how it goes from there. This is really kind of a light version of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And I think that has a certain appeal to it. All right, anyway, so you have a stack of room cards, and the stack of room cards is determined, or how large the stack of room cards is determined by how many players are in the game. In a one-player game, you're going to use 30 cards, and then for every player up above that, you add 10. So if you have 2 players, you'll have 40 cards, 3 players 50, 4 players 60, 5 players 70 cards. And you're going to basically, as I said earlier, you're going to create, this is a 2-player setup, and you always add 2 to the market. So there's always going to be, in a 2-player game, 4 cards out here in the market. Other things about setup is that you start with 2 bonus cards. Even though you can't score them, the way that you can unlock being able to score your bonus cards is by completing orange rooms. Completing a room is the same as in Castles of Mad King Ludwig. You have to basically make sure that all of the doorways match up on your blueprint. But you can, that's how you unlock being able to score your bonus cards, is by finishing your orange utility rooms. You're also, there is a specific way, but everybody's going to start with a royal decree card, which is basically a personal goal that they'll be able to work on without anybody else knowing. This one particularly says it's going to give you 2 points for each unique kind of room in your blueprint at the end of the game, and that is to include courtyards as well. So that's a pretty cool royal decree. This one over here is you can take 3 cards when you complete a utility room instead of just 2. So that's an actual, a pretty cool thing that you can use during the course of the game rather than scoring at the end. But this will probably give you a better diverse amount and kinds of bonus cards. So that's probably why this isn't a scoring card. So there's those kinds of things. These bonus cards that you'll be able to score at the end of the game are for a number of different things. For example, this one gives you 4 points for each utility room that you have completed. I'm sorry, not completed, but in your castle blueprint. This one gives you 5 for every activity room. These 2 over here, 4 for every unused reward, and we'll talk about rewards for a little bit. Then you get 6 points for every 2-sized room, which is they're small rooms. So if you have a if you have a lot of 2-sized rooms, sure, you're going to score a lot of points, but you might have a difficulty in some other way, but that's probably why it's worth so many points. But that gives you an idea of the kinds of things that you can find on the bonus cards. So everybody starts with 2 of those. They'll start with a piece of vellum paper on their easel. They'll also start with this tracking sheet, which allows you to track how many rooms you've completed and whether or not you've used the reward that comes with completing those rooms. So what are those different things? Well, if you complete a yellow room, then, or which is food basically, then you will be able to take an extra turn. If you complete a blue room, you'll be able to move door or doors within your castle. If you complete an downstairs room, then you'll be able to add a secret door somewhere in your castle. If you complete a purple room, then you'll be able to remove 1 door from somewhere in your castle, making it, and that will also make it possible for you to possibly close off that room and complete it, which would trigger another effect somewhere else. You can also expand your lot. You may not be able to see it, but there are some green dotted lines that are here. At the beginning of the game, you start within this grid pattern right here. And as you unlock, or as you finish or complete green rooms, you can color in these flags that are out here that will allow you to expand the area that you can put your blueprint in. So that's a pretty cool thing as well. Then you have swan cards. Some of these cards out here, of course, none of them that are out there have a swan on them. So let me see if I can draw one real quick. Come on. This is how my day's been going, folks. when I want something. So here we go. If the card you took has a swan on it, then you'll be able to fill in these swans on your tally sheet here. And once you've put 4 rooms that are swan rooms into your castle, you'll be able to build a moat on your castle, and which is a pretty cool thing. And it's going to give you 2 points for every room that's behind that moat, so you can score a good sizable chunk of points by building a moat. But you have to build 4 rooms into your castle that have that swan icon first before you can do any of that stuff. Then we already talked about finishing utility rooms. Whenever you finish a utility room, you get to take 2 new bonus cards and add them to your hand. And then at the end of the game, whenever you complete those utility rooms, you'll color in these little circles right here. And at the end of the game, that tells you how many of the bonus cards you can actually score. So that's pretty cool. Courtyards are basically the same thing as with Castles of Mad King Ludwig. You have to have at least 1 doorway that enters into a completely closed area inside your castle, and if that is the case, that will score you 10 points. There are other kinds of cards that will add to that number as well. And then the King's Favor tokens, which are down here, are also going to score you points. These are going to be things that you're trying to accomplish, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. If you are in dead last 5th, you don't get any points for it. But as I said earlier, 15, 8, 4, and 1 points are awarded for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th place for each of these. So for example, and there are a number of these in the box, these are just the 4 that I had to start the game with. So whoever has the most 4-sized rooms will be able to win that one. Again, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Unique sizes of rooms. So not necessarily the kinds of rooms, the different colors, but the different sizes of the rooms is what's important for this one. Here, number of 5 rooms. Whoever has the most 5 rooms is the winner on that one. And then this one is the total size of your food rooms. So you would basically add the number that is up here in the corner on all of our yellow rooms. Whoever has the highest number would get 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Respectively. But that's how scoring works. So, on a round, at the beginning of the game, a first player is determined, and that's who gets the eraser, the castle eraser. By the way, it came with an eraser, came with a pencil sharpener, it came with a full set of colored pencils, and the color pencils are pretty cool because they have the name of the kind of room that is associated with that color: activity, food, utility for orange, and then purple is living rooms. And then you have the color that you have to draw the moat in, which is a different color than the blue rooms, which are your sleeping rooms. And then you have your outdoor rooms with green and your downstairs rooms with gray. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing for them to include these in the box. So with that having been said, the first thing that you do on your turn is you're going to be able to choose what color your foyer is. And that's going to be important because whenever you finish your foyer, you'll be able to, whatever color you chose, you'll be able to take that reward. So it's kind of like you're getting a little bit of a jump start on gathering those rewards, and you go forward. But you'll notice that the start reward, we also have that already colored in. The flag isn't colored in because you color in the flag when you use the reward. What does the start reward do? It can act as any of these different rewards that you want it to exactly once during the course of the game. There are some cards in the Royal Decree or the bonus deck that will give you points if you don't use that, though, so that's something to keep in mind. But that's something that you can do, generally speaking, when you complete a room in the color, you fill in the circle. You can either immediately use the reward or you can save it until later, but when you do use it, you have to fill in the flag, and that helps you keep track of when you've used your rewards and when they are still available to you. All right, so it's going to take me a while. I don't want you to have to sit here watching me color in things as we go through. So I'm just going to kind of simulate a couple of rounds here so that you get the idea of what's going on, and then we'll talk about certain things. If you have any questions, absolutely ask them, okay? I'll do my best to answer the questions that you have. If I don't know it right off the top of my head, I'll try to find it in the rule book and let you know that. But generally speaking, what you do here is the person who has the first player token will be able to have first pick. Let's say that I chose to make my foyer a utility room. Let's say that I chose to make my foyer an orange room. What I would do at this point is I would take the orange marker here, sorry, I lost my train of thought, and I would actually just color in a foyer with orange, and then since my foyer has a swan symbol on it, I would also color in the first swan on my build one moat line down here. So that's what we would do first. We all get to choose what color our foyer is going to be first. Then the person's going to go ahead and start along with that, and I'm going to say that, let's just say that I would choose to do the powder room. So I'm going to choose to do the powder room, and this is a kind of cool thing. I want to see if I can get this going here. Just a second. Let me add my phone as a capture. All right, so this is one of the cool things. Remember earlier I said it was pretty cool that they used vellum for the pages? This is one of the reasons why. If you don't want to do things freehand, you can actually, I should have done this before, sorry. You can actually put this under the vellum sheet, and it can act like, I can't do this with just one hand, but I'll try to do the best I can here. So let's say that I want to put this right next to my foyer. So you can actually, so if you're having trouble seeing how the room is going to fit into your thing, you can actually go and use it this way so that you can kind of see where it's at. Then you don't have to freehand it. You can just kind of shade it in where it is. You don't have to worry about drawing around the outside edges of it or anything like that. So that is something that you can do. And I thought it was something that was a pretty cool thing. So if I wanted to put it over here like this, then you can see exactly how it's going to work. But that's one of the reasons why I thought it was cool that they used this vellum paper, is that it is see-through, and you can use that to your advantage during the course of the game. So I thought that was pretty neat. So I wanted to show that to you. I tried to find a one of my many broken iPhone tripods to have to set that up so I could use two hands to do that, but alas, I wasn't able to find it. By the way, can I just make a little rant here? Can companies please make things that don't break after you use them 2 or 3 times? Pretty please? With sugar on top? Can I just say that? Thank you. I appreciate it. That has nothing to do with Blueprints and Mad King Ludwig. Everything in this game has been working just fine. All right, so I chose to take the powder room, and we have, again, we're just simulating me actually drawing that on here. And since there is no other door on this, adding it to my foyer actually finishes off this powder room, which means that I would be able to fill in one of these circles right here and draw 2 more bonus cards. and I'd be able to look at them and say, oh, okay, that's something maybe I don't want to. See, I was telling you, you get 15 points if you don't use your start reward. So maybe that's one thing. I'm not going to use my start reward now because I know that's worth 15 points at the end of the game, or 5 points for every 6 room that I have in my castle. So maybe I want to go for 6s. Who knows? So I'm able to do that. Now, when you color in the circle, that means you've completed the room. When you take the 2 bonus cards, you color in the flag. So I would have colored in the flag there. And now it's my opponent's turn. Well, they don't really have anything going here, so they are probably going to use this focus room because that gives them a little bit more diversity on directions that they can come out here. So they're going to go ahead and add that to their... they're going to add that to their foyer, and then it doesn't complete anything, so nothing else happens over there. And now at the end of the round, any cards that are left are actually kept and put in a reserve pile. And that's important because, for example, the red rooms, when you finish those activity rooms, the reward for finishing your activity rooms is you get to take something from the reserve pile. So, and add it to your castle. So that's a cool thing. Now what we would do is we would look at the size of our rooms, and starting with the lowest number, in the next round, the person would be, the lowest numbered room would be first. And I'm looking in the room here because I don't know, looking in the rule book here because I can't remember if there's a tie. If there's a tie, discard any root cards. Okay, page 6. Wow. Why can't I find this? Same size room, reveal the next card in their pile. If there is still no card under, they use the initial clockwise order. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to read it. So, if there's a tie, for example, I have a 1-sized room and she also took a 1-sized room. If that's the same, then this remains here with me and I'll go first next turn. What we'll now do is we will refill. So we put 4 more cards out here. And now I'll be able to choose who goes first as well. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this dormitory. I'll add that to one side of my foyer over here. I don't do anything over here because it doesn't complete a room when I do that. It doesn't complete my foyer and it won't complete the dormitory. So nothing else happens there, but I do put that into one side of my dormitory. They will choose to... Oh, let's see here. They will probably choose to do a buttery this time. But what will happen here at the end of the turn, this will go into the reserve pile. And now, since my opponent has a 1 and I have a 3, they will be the first player next turn, and we'll flip these over like so that we have 4 cards in the market as well. Now, if you haven't caught on by now, remember that we started in a 2-player game with 40 cards in the deck. We use 4 cards every turn. That means we're going to go through 10 rounds, and then at the end of 10 rounds, whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. All right. Now, let me go ahead and use my phone again as we are doing this so that I can show you how, or at least give you an idea of how scoring will work. Gotta click that first, dummy. There we go. All right. So this is our scoring sheet, and this is what it looks like. You'll see here up at the top that you'll get a number of different things that will score you points. I'm not going to go over everything, but generally speaking, with every room that you finish, for every room that you color in here, whether you've used the reward or not, For example, yellow food rooms are going to give you 4 points for every room, every one that you complete. Sleeping rooms will give you 5 points for every room that you complete. Your downstairs ones will give you 6. The living rooms will give you 7. The activity rooms will give you 8. Then, if you have expanded your lot, what you're going to be able to do here is you're going to be able to look at all of your green areas on your board, and for every adjacent square that's empty, you're going to score 2 points. For every half square, you'll score 1 point. So you'll be able to do that for all of your green rooms that you've put into your castle. Then you're going to be able to look at whether or not you were able to build a moat. And then you'll basically, for example, a moat is you'll basically be able to color in 1 square row as far as you want. And then every room that is behind that gives you 2 points. And so that's what this does here. Then you'll take a look at your bonus cards, and you'll score for whatever the bonus cards that you want, dependent upon how many utility rooms you were able to finish. So let's say I finished 3 utility rooms and I was able to finish, I used these 3. I can't use this one. It didn't score me any points anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I put all of those in each of these boxes, add them together, and that gives me my final score for that row over there. Then we look at how many courtyards we have. Then we will go and look at the king's favor tokens, and we'll make sure that we delineate first, second, and third for all of those, and you'll mark how many points you get for that, add those together. Then you add all of the castles together, and that gives you your total score at the end of the game. Whoever has the highest score is the winner. So that's basically how scoring works. I'm trying to think of anything else that you may or may not want to know. There are, you get a good number of score sheets and blueprint vellum pieces of paper. So they didn't really chintz you out on that. These are pretty thick pads, both of them. You could definitely use, I know people have said it before, you could definitely use when you put plastic over paper. Oh my goodness, my brain is just not working well today. I apologize. But you can basically take one of these and make it a dry erase board. You could definitely do that and make it a little bit easier for you. But I think with this being paper, it works because it helps you remember what rooms you used to do these certain things, and what you got out of them and those kinds of things. So using this on a, like a dry erase type form of it, it would work. It definitely would. And you could definitely do that for this. These, however, if you did that, you would lose some of the cool factor of the vellum. But yeah, that would be basically up to you. And I think that's about it as far as a basic understanding of the game. Laminate, yes, there you go. Yes, you can trace. You can trace. That's interesting, Bob. You said it sounds a bit convoluted. That's probably because I did a bad job explaining it. Because this is the exact opposite of convoluted. Even scoring makes very much very good sense. Because as you're going through, keeping track of this throughout the course of the game, at the end of the game, you simply have to count how many of these dots you have filled in times 8. That's your score. How many of these dots do you have filled in? Times 7, that's your score. How many of these dots do you have filled in? Times 6, that's your score. It's very, very simple. I can't express to you how simple the scoring for this is compared to how I think it probably could have been. This is a very streamlined scoring for as much as you have going on in this game. So if it sounded convoluted, that was probably my fault and not the game's fault, because it is not difficult to understand at all. With that being said, we'll get back up to the top here, and we shall talk about it. I think you could laminate the side sheet, but the blueprints paper, I don't think laminating it could work. Well, here's the thing. I'm sure it could work, but you'd be using colored dry erase markers on that, which is also a possible thing, but you're also going to be dry erase markers rubs off real easy. That's just the long and the short of it. So it could work, but I don't know that I'm ever. I mean, I would love playing this game a lot, but I mean, I don't know. I want to say there's probably, I don't know. I say I'm acting like I'm counting. I'm really not. I'm just kind of guessing. I would say there's maybe 80, 60. Does it say in the book? It probably does. Let's see here. Contents. Nope, just says 1 pad of score sheets, 1 pad of sketch sheets, and sketch panels. It does not say how many there are in each pad, but I would imagine it's around, you know, the 80 mark, 60 to 80, maybe less than that. But you've got a lot. I'll just put it that way. But generally speaking, I think that this is a it was an opportunity, I think, to make a game that is very much in the shadow of Castles of Mad King Ludwig without being the same game as Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And I think it's fun. Jess had a blast playing with it. She was super excited. She went and got her own. You know, she loves coloring. That's I think that's a byproduct of her being a preschool teacher. But she loves coloring, and she was having a blast coloring things in and designing her little blueprint and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the difference here. You feel a little bit more involved in the process, if that makes sense, rather than just buying a tile and adding it to your tableau. You are literally, you know, putting a little bit of elbow grease into making sure it looks neat and tidy, or you're not. You know, that's one of the things. You can just draw the outline, or you can just shade it in, whatever you'd like. It's not that difficult at all. And it's one of those things where you almost want to be overcritical of it. I know I'm struggling with doing that. Because this is not really the kind of game that I would normally come at. But with that having been said, I really enjoyed my play of it. And we've also played Castles of Mad King Ludwig here recently as well. And I think I like Castles of Mad King Ludwig better as a game, but I did not enjoy myself with this one. I still enjoyed myself playing this, even though I like the other one better. Whatever. I still enjoyed this one. It was a chill time where you just kind of sit around and yeah, you're trying to score points. Yeah, you're playing the game, but you're sitting around building your blueprints, and the finished product was very satisfying. So I really kind of enjoyed it. So some pros and cons for the game. You know, we usually do that for final thoughts. First of all, my pro is the component quality of the game is good. And I sometimes feel like a broken record because I talk about the same things over and over again, but it's because all of these games have the same things in them. They all have components, they all have artwork, they all have mechanisms and all that kind of stuff. So when I talk about these things, and if I mention them as a pro, and I've mentioned them in 5 other reviews, well, it's because I feel like I need to talk about them. So the first things first, the components were really good. I love the fact that they gave you a complete set of colored pencils. I love the fact that it came with an eraser and a pencil sharpener, because who has pencil sharpeners in their house anymore? Well, we do, but that's just the Jesse effect, not anything else. I don't know many households that have pencil sharpeners in their house anymore. So it's a cool thing. It was a thoughtful thing for them to add that in there. The cards are a good stock, linen finished as well. I like linen finish, and that's kind of a norm. I think those are good. The bonus cards had good diversity to them. We'll talk about that in just a minute because that's a little bit of another con. We're talking about components right now. All of the King's Favor tokens are nice, chunky, thick cardboard. The vellum paper is also a thoughtful thing that they did with the game, being able to stick them under and trace if need be, and help that kind of determine where you might best fit that room. I thought that was a great idea. They give you a good number of score sheets and blueprint sheets on the pads. I think the component quality for this is really good. Now, of course, this part of the game is consumable. You know, these are going to eventually go away. But you just go to the dollar store and buy a new pack and you're good to go. But I thought this is a really cool thing that they added into the game. I thought that was great. So component quality is great. That's one of the pros for me. Second pro for me are the many different ways that you can score points in this game. It's not really, I mean, I guess it is by definition, it's point salad, but I like the fact that you get these bonus cards, and not only do you get them, they give you direction. They give you things that you should be shooting for, but at the same time, they're also making you go after those utility rooms. And I love that play off of those two different parts of the game. These are just about scoring points, but if you don't finish utility rooms, you're not going to be able to use these to score points. And I like that tension that's there because that makes the utility rooms a viable choice whenever they show up, because you know that first of all, when you complete those rooms, you're going to be able to get 2 more bonus cards on top of the 2 that you started with, and that's going to be, now I can score one of my bonus cards. I finished another one, now I can score 2 of my bonus cards. So I really enjoyed what the bonus cards did and how they worked well with the utility rooms. The Royal Decree cards, basically what happens here is that you deal out one, you separate one plus the number of players, and the first player gets to take a look at and choose one. And then everybody else gets to do that. So the last person is always going to have a choice. But I like the fact that these Royal Decrees could be either points at the end of the game or in-game things that will help you do better during the game, like the one that this one has. You get to take 3 cards whenever you complete a utility card. This one here, take extra turns immediately when you complete food cards. So that's an interesting thing as well. You get 5 points for every contiguous group of 2 or more same type rooms. So that's a cool thing. The Royal Decrees are really cool cards. I liked them as well, but I really enjoyed the bonus cards and how they worked in the scoring and making sure that you still kept an eye on those utility rooms and trying to finish those. Again, another pro for scoring. I love the King's Favor tokens. I thought they were great. They are a carryover from Castles of Mad King Ludwig, but just to let you kind of see, these are the rest of them that we have here. So there are a number of different, and that's not all. Here's more King's Favor tokens. More Lambeth spread, you know what I'm saying? So you get the idea that they definitely gave a number of different ways that you can score King's Favor tokens in this game. And there's a lot of replayability that's there as well, because you're only going to use 4 per game. And I think there's like, I don't know, a lot. There are 35 King's Favor tokens, and you only use 4 a game. So that's pretty cool. I like it a lot. That's about it. I already said earlier that this wasn't really my kind of game, but I did enjoy myself, and that's why it gets 1 thumb up. I enjoyed the game. I think it's one that you should go and check out and give it a try, because this is one of those games that might just surprise you with how much fun you have at it. It might not look like much fun, because you're basically going to be just drawing on a piece of paper for the majority of your time. But that does kind of foster a real chill mood around the table, and it kind of takes you back a little bit, right? Because we all used to, maybe not all of us, but I think most of us remember as a kid coloring and how much fun and how much like chillness that brought into our lives. I thought that it was a great little pullback, and it was kind of nostalgic, if I can put it that way. But I was very pleasantly surprised with this. I was interested in it because I was like, a roll and write version of Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I wonder what that's going to be like. I really enjoyed it. It's not my normal kind of game, so that's why it only gets 1 thumb up, but I still really enjoyed it, and I think I can recommend it, and I'm going to push it out to you. You've got to make the choice now on your own to go try it out and see what you think. But that's it. Let me get to some of the different things here. See what we have in the... Bob Rock says, thanks, would try if someone brings it to the table. Good idea, Bob. Karen is here. Hello. I would just make a copy of the sheet as a master in case in the future you need to make more. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. Let's see. They have the file for the sheet on BGG, so I'm not worried about that. Oh, okay. There we go. Matthew Vincent, the description on the for sale site says 50 sheets each. Well, there you go. I said 80 or less, so I was technically correct. Karen says, I love coloring too. Looks zen, right? I could draw all afternoon. That's pretty much the idea that's here. You know, you're drawing your blueprint of your castle and putting it together. Sinful Elation. Wow, that's a strange name. The idea of this one is cool. I like how weird the room shapes can be. Exactly. And that's another cool thing that we have. Not so much with Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I guess with some of the expansions, the shapes of the rooms got a little wonky. But with this one, like for example, that room, say what? That's a weird looking room. But hey, some artist, some architect went, I can do that, and did it. That's where this game is better than the original. The rooms have more interesting shapes in this version. There you go. I have a pencil sharpener. Congratulations, Matthew. I do not have a pencil sharpener. See? Me too. Electric. Ooh, fancy. An electric pencil sharpener. I hate mechanical pencils. That's funny. My son, David, he's my second oldest. He hates the feel of wooden pencils. So the only thing he could use, it was just a tactile thing with him. The only kind of pencil he could use was mechanical pencils in school. And, you know, we bought him those big packs, and we just gave him a whole pack by himself. He went through them like nobody's business, but yeah, he could not use anything but mechanical pencils. Love sharp pencils. I tend to break the lead in mechanical pencils. What does that say about me? It means you press down too hard when you write. That's what it means. I'll check it out a bit more, but don't think it's you. You did a great job explaining how the game works. I just think it's a bit much for Flip and Right to explain up front. Maybe so. You want to go check out my review of French Quarter. Now that, my friend, is a convoluted way. It's a heavier roll and write or flip and write. It's still a great game. Gave that one a thumbs up as well. But you want to talk about convolution and scoring? That's your Huckleberry right there. This is very easy by comparison. I like my roll and write simpler. I understand a lot of people do, but there is kind of a newer push, I guess you could say, to take roll and writes to a little bit of a more complex level. So French Quarter is definitely there. I wouldn't really say that this one is there. I think this is pretty simple, but I have played French Quarter, which is pretty complex for a roll and write. So that's where I have my comparisons going to. By comparison, if I compare this to French Quarter, this one is not complex at all. It's very straightforward. In French Quarter, you're doing this to be able to mark off this over here, which allows me to mark off this over here, and then I'm going to map this room over here, which allows me to do this over here. Okay, what are you going to do? That's kind of how that goes. This one is just draw my pretty little room, mark off a couple things on my sheet, and you've done the same. Okay, let's go to the next round. So it's not that complex. They're never main game we play, but that's on me. That this one might change my mind. There you go. Made me think of Tom's old component drop. Oh, the yeah. I think it's for fans of Castles to get a lighter copy out, to be fair. That is a very fair statement. And I could definitely see people doing that. You know, people who love Castles of Mad King Ludwig, they're probably going to be automatically, magnetically drawn to this because it's going to be able to allow them to play a lighter version of Castles of Mad King Ludwig in a much shorter time as well, probably, I would imagine. Maybe not that much shorter of a time. Let's see here. I played Hadrian's Wall. This does not feel like a spreadsheet. That's true. Love the poker chip version of the favors you can get to. Yeah, those are nice. This is just a core game, though. This and Sagrada Artisans in the same year is cool for people who love to color. That is true. Review gets 2 thumbs up for sure. Thank you. I'm going to do that again. Woo! Thank you, Karen. You sold me on French Quarter. Awesome. Got extra cards and 2 meeples from the designer. Was so surprised. Yeah, that's cool. Have you tried Hadrian's Wall? I love that one, but only as a solo game. I have not tried Hadrian's Wall yet. I don't even have a copy of it, so I would have to hunt down a copy if I'm going to be able to give it a whirl. But with that having been said, I think, let's see here, that we are... yeah, we're about at our hour mark. So if we have any final questions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer them. Otherwise, as I said earlier, this is a 2024 release. If you're going to Origins, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be at their booth. You could pick up a copy there. I don't know when it's going to be released into regular distribution, though. I don't have that date. So I apologize for that. But, oh, okay, thank you, Bob Rock. It's also on BGA. Oh, Hadrian's Wall is on BGA. All right, that's cool. I'll try it. You can solo it there. I'll try BGA then. I appreciate that. That's it from me, though. I'm going to get on out of here. I got to go pick up a kid, take him to a chiropractor appointment, and I also have to finish mowing the lawn because my electric battery ran out. And I had to recharge it, but I think it's done charging now. So, but today's looking up. I got my church group coming over tonight, so we're going to have some fun chatting and talking and spending time with each other. Thank you for joining me here, though. I appreciate you. go check out blueprints of Mad King Ludwig. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care. Oh, Tom, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know which she prefers. I would imagine if I had to pick, just from what I know of her, I would imagine she would pick this one because she really enjoys the coloring aspect of it. I don't think she disliked Castles of Mad King Ludwig, but she really enjoyed the coloring aspect of this one. I think I think she would probably go with this one, but I'm pretty sure she still enjoyed Castles as well. I think she won Castles, or I think JT beat both of us and then she beat me. But anyway, that's the answer to your question, Tom. Now I'm leaving.